Well, hello from Emerald Hill Skies. It's great to be with you again tonight. We've had kind of a hard time because there are so many clouds. I almost wondered if we were going to be able to do this, but as it turned out, we pulled it off somehow. Let me make sure our audio is good here. Yeah. And tonight we're working on the Herschel 400 list. This is our 17th session on the Herschel 400 list. I want to welcome you. We're broadcasting from the outskirts of Louisville, Kentucky. It's turned out to be a relatively clear night. This is our SkyCam view. Boy, when we got here and up until just a few minutes ago, this sky was completely clouded in. And I'm happy to tell you it's broken up now, and that's a reasonably clear night altogether. We've been able to pull off a really good focus, I think, on this RASA 11 out there in the observatory. This is a Pier-Tech 2 observatory. It's the kind with a roll-off roof, and we have a Pier-Tech Adjustable-Height pier also. This pier is the kind of pier that raises up in the sky, gets the telescope up over the top of the edge of the observatory, and it's pretty fun because that way you can just lower it down and then close the roof and be off and head for your house. But you roll off the roof and raise it up and you're ready for business. Up on top, this RASA 11 it's like an 11-inch aperture, and we have a little outrigger on top with a monochrome camera. It's a ASI2600MC monochrome, and that gives us our sky view. So that's what's responsible for this, not really shooting through a telescope at all. It's about a 150-degree view of the sky. All the information from that plus the information from this, it's the ZWO ASI2600MC Pro. It all comes down to a rack at the bottom of the scope. We affectionately call it the rig rack, and it's got all the little boxes that supply the power to everything and bring the power back in. It funnels the data into a relay box that converts it to signals that can travel over fiber optic cable. And it brings back into where I'm sitting here inside this nice warm office. And boy, it's great to have you with us. We're going to switch now to see if we can get a live view through that 2600 camera. And there it is. That's those are 3-second shots, one after another. I see there are a couple of people on the stream. If you'd like to say hello, tell us where you're observing from. It'd be great to have you do that. We're going to start out with our observing software here. We've got it over here to the right. I think you can barely see it over in this area, over here to the right. And let's go here to our altitude and run this again. Looks like the best bet for us would be the Double Bubble Nebula. Double Bubble. I like the sounds of that. It's NGC 2371. So what we'll do is try to slew to that, and here's a view of the scope while it's slewing. The Double Bubble Nebula, NGC 2371. So we'll put that in our title here. NGC 2371, the Double Bubble Nebula. Kind of a fun name, isn't it? Nebula. And this is in the constellation Gemini. This Double Bubble Nebula is from the Herschel list 316-1, Herschel called it. You see the scope now, it's pointing almost straight up, 80 degrees, almost straight up. And we'll get the scope started here. I'm going to put this NGC number in the top of our sharp-capped imaging software. NGC 2371, and also it's 2372. So I guess we'll just put NG3 2371 here. I think we're ready to go. So let's do a plate solve. Let's kind of reset this display histogram just in case. Connect to our mount here in SharpCap and do a plate solve. And we used here Stephen James O'Meara's book on the Herschel 400. It's it's a good book for processing this stuff. So you can kind of get Stephen James O'Meara's view. And what I have to do is look back here in the index at NGC 2361 and then see the page number 2371, sorry, page number 76. So then we turn to 76 here, and it says we were 1 degree off on our view. So the telescope mount will now reposition the scope, and looks like maybe that's already been done. Yeah, looks like we're good. Then we'll start live stacking here, and let's change our exposure to 20-second exposures at a gain of 100. And the double bubble nebula 2371 and also 2. It's a dim, low surface brightness planetary nebula, and it's located just 1.5 degrees north of 4th magnitude Iota Geminorum. It counts as 2 Herschel objects because the shell appears to be broken into 2 parts. A couple of you on the live stream now. I see Mike there from Atlanta. Welcome, Mike. Good to have you aboard. If anybody else would like to check in, tell us where you're observing from, it'd be great. You have to resolve the nebula into 2 bright patches. We're going to have trouble with that, aren't we? It's got to be under dark sky, and that's going to be good for us tonight because for the first hour, there's no moon at all. I think the second hour, the moon comes up, and it's, what, 80%-ish. We'll have to look up that exact percentage. You have to have high power here. Locate the field and then switch to high power. It's only 1 arc minute wide. Whew, that's going to be pretty slim for this 2 degree wide field that we have in this RASA. You have to really stare at it with averted vision. The central star shines a magnitude of 14.8. Okay, so let's see what we can do with this. First of all, let's reset this display histogram. Not much that we can drag out there. Now let's reset this bottom display histogram and auto set it. Now let's color balance. And then let's move our darks over to about right there. And then move our mids up. Boy, I am not seeing this yet unless that's it right there in the middle. Boy, if it is sure a tiny object. Sure enough, that's it. That's 100%. We're going to have to go in a little bit tighter than that. That's 130. In other words, we're past our optical limit of our zoom now. But you can already see this object kind of tiny there on the screen, but you're going to have to get close to your screen. That's about 200% of our optical chain, our optical train's capabilities. So that central star has a magnitude of 15. You remember how the magnitude scale works. The higher the number, the dimmer the object. So at 15, that's really faint. The human eye can see out to about, what, 5 or 6. These are skies of about Bortle 6, which is pretty light polluted. And you can see how you've got the central star and then you've got 2 distinct lobes. And one of those lobes is NGC 2371 and the other is NGC 2372. Let's see if our deep sky image annotation. Nope, they just lump it together in deep sky image annotation here. Trying to think if the scope is, let's see, the top of the scope would be pointed toward the west. So the top of this view is toward the west. That would mean that to the right is a little bit south and this is a little bit north. northeast to southwest. Top of the scope is, so I think the northeast half. I'll tell you what, let's do. Let's bring this up in our planetarium software. To do that, we'll go right-click, Show Chart, and Stellarium will queue it up. And then we'll zoom in on Stellarium, and it does not separate it either. Look, there are outer lobes as well as inner lobes. Let's take another look at this. Oh, we're just starting to see them. Look out here. How about that? Let's see if we can dial that up a little more. Wow, look at that. There's an outer layer. Flatwater 5. I'm fairly dim, but I don't have a high number. Aurora Borealis shining down in Dallas. Wow, that'd be great. Ray, good to have you on from Arizona. Look at this, Ray. We're just starting to pick up these outer layers here. Let's darken the sky one more bit, and then let's bring these up in hopes of brightening this up. Look at those outer bands here. So this particular planetary nebula blew up and then let up again and then blew up again. And so this first shock wave sent out these outer lobes, and the second shock wave sent out then the inner lobes. It's pretty fascinating. We're in just a little bit too tight, I think, for the good of our scope. Let's save a picture of this. This is a beautiful planetary nebula, and I think dark skies are really helping us. It's helping us pick up this outer little band here. So two parts, 71 and 72. There's our picture. Now, we want to remember when we go back to non-stacking, let's check our darks and flats and make sure those are right. Let's see. 22, November 22nd of 2022, and January 12th of 2022. Okay, so those are the right darks and flats. Okay, now from here on we can use our sequencer and say next target, and it'll ask us for the name. Let's do our observation here. Observations, and we're going to say, see, it automatically picked up our session. This is session 107, and we're going to say, wow, we not only saw the two lobes on either side of the 15th mag central star, but also the earlier, fainter shock wave farther from the center. We had dark skies, thankfully, since the moon has not yet risen. Let's do one more thing. Let's get a picture of where we're looking in the sky. There's the meridian. So here's Gemini. So for orientation then, this is south. There you can see my truck parked there, and that's the building I'm in right there. In that little window right there is where I'm located. We're taking this from the vantage point of the telescope. So the Big Dipper is behind us. Here's the Big Dipper behind, kind of off to the left. And we're looking pretty high up, about 80 degrees up in the sky. Okay, so that gives us our observation now of I did not check. Maybe we didn't finish that observation? We did. What happened? Okay. Yeah, there we go. Now we're going to go to NGC 2683. It's a galaxy in Lynx, I think that's called. So let's salute to it. NGC 2683. NGC 2683. A galaxy in Lynx. NGC 2683. Okay, I think the scope must be settled down now. Didn't have to go very far. Let me see what you got. Oh my goodness, Flatwater 5. That is so kind of you. Flatwater 5 just did one of these things called a, what is that called? A super chat gift. And we dedicate these super chat gifts. Tonight, this is going to go toward earthquake relief in Turkey and northern Syria. And every dollar that's given, I'm not going to take any of it for cameras or anything, coffee, no coffee. This is all going to go to earthquake relief. And also, if you happen to decide to go to the spread shop, I don't know if you noticed, but when you look at the channel now, let's see if we go to the channel, and you should see the store. You can see all these different things with branded Emerald Hill Skies. You can get hoodies, t-shirts, coffee mugs, all kinds of tote bags, stickers, all kinds of stuff. And if you want more variety, you can just click on any of those links that say from the spread shop. And it takes you to the spread shop, and you can get all kinds of things, different colors. You can choose your color. Anything that you buy, all the proceeds that we get from spread shop and from these super chats, it all goes to help with earthquake, with the refugees, not refugees, the survivors of the earthquake that's hit over in Turkey. I'm sure you've been following that this week. Man, that would be great to help those folks out. So if you would, check that out. And if you don't mind, while you're there, if you could subscribe to the channel, that helps us know that everybody's kind of boosting us on. You can hit a thumbs up, and that helps as well. Let's go back and see what our screen is seeing here. Let's first reset our display histogram. Then let's reset and auto stretch the main histogram, and then we'll color balance that main histogram. Boy, not too great on the color balance. Wonder why that is. We're going to dial down our reds manually because they went berserk. Something like that maybe. And then bring our darks over to here. Maybe our color balance will improve as we collect a few more frames. But already you can see this galaxy in the middle. And there's that star that we were hearing about. Let's see. I think we still have too many reds. Yeah, something like that. Looks a lot better. So that's 100% there. Boy, that's a nice looking galaxy. How in the world did Messier missed this? Witchy-Crone. Hi, Doug. Barbara here from northern Wisconsin. Good to be here again. Good to have you back, Barbara. I remember you from the other night. Too much interference on the screen. Good hunting. Wow, sorry to hear that. Flatwater 5, the channel's first donor. For sure, Flatwater. Appreciate that. Stu, you're always so good to boost people on. Cygnus X1, a long time ago during a meteor storm. Well, Flatwater 5, it's good to have you back. You were the first contributor during that meteor storm. That's awesome. Stu's on from Tauranga, New Zealand, a day away from a tropical cyclone. Yikes. Tropical cyclone, that sounds so terrible. Tropical cyclone near New Zealand. Oh my goodness, look at this. Oh my goodness. Stu, are you going to be okay? Do you need to, like, evacuate or something? Why are you sitting here watching this live stream? Stu, the Tau Herculid, right. Ken Allen got lost on the internet. It's good to have you back, Ken. It's viewed nearly edge-on from Earth's location in space, located 30 million light years away. Cyclone Gabrielle. That is scary. Stu, Lord, please help Stu during the cyclone. Help him to be safe. Waist deep in water anyway. We're used to it. Oh, my goodness. That's so sad, Stu. Well, let's hear some more about this, this object. It's NGC 2683. NGC 2683 on page 79. And it's called the UFO galaxy. It's the brightest of some 24 galaxies populating Lynx. And he gives the directions. He says a beautiful silver needle of light, nearly 10 arc minutes long and elongated northeast to southwest. Distinct sheen like moonlight glinting off a sword. Easier to see than the edge-on systems, and then names several others like that. He says the nucleus gleams like a brilliant diamond flanked on either side by cultured pearls. Not sure I see the cultured pearls. Spiral structure in the inner lens may be inferred in larger telescopes, but in the 4-inch, all you can see is irregular patches of light and dark. So we're going to add an observation here. I'm going to say the UFO galaxy. This was a beautiful edge-on. I think, Stu, you said it was 30 degrees? No, nearly edge-on. Beautiful, nearly edge-on galaxy, some 30 million light years away. Long, long ago in a galaxy far away. Ken's in Miami, 2 hours more sleepy. Rich in globular clusters. According to Stu, about 300 of them. Twice the number found in Milky Way. Very cool. It really is brilliant, isn't it? This is probably, to me, one of the best galaxies we've seen in the Herschel list. You know, the Herschel list has this reputation of being kind of obscure stuff, like exotic stuff. But look at that. That's just beautiful. All right, that's 6 minutes of integration, and it's already looking really good. So I guess we're ready for the next object, which would now be this Ursa Major galaxy, NGC 2681. So let's go to the next target, and then we'll go here to slew to it. And it's NGC 2681. That sounds really close to the last one, but it's a different constellation. Stu, according to Wikipedia. You always want to give credit to Wikipedia, don't you, Stu? Amount is settled. And we'll go down here and say 2681, a galaxy in Ursa Major. (2681). Boy, our clouds cleared off nicely tonight. I'm so happy to tell you. There's something streaking across the middle of the screen, huh? Okay, we're just in time to see the last of the plate solving, and we'll look up 2681. 2681, NGC 2681 on page 45. (2681). It's another small but reasonably bright mixed spiral galaxy. So this is going to be probably part elliptical. It's round, 2 arc minutes wide, with a condensed core. It gradually brightens inward. Says that you can't enhance the view much. I see it right there in the middle. Can you see it? We'll do the display histogram here, and then we'll reset this and auto stretch it, and we'll try this color matching again. Oh, that's better. Okay, then we'll bring this over, the black level over, and then bump up the mids a bit. Maybe zoom in on this. So that's 100%. So Stephen James Ramirez says you can't enhance this much by zooming in. Stu says, I watched a spent booster from a Chinese launch burn up recently, burnt bright across half the sky. Wow. Ray, glad you're streaming tonight. I have some high clouds off and on. Sorry to hear that, Ray. 2681 is a lenticular galaxy in the constellation Ursa Major. It lies 50 million light years away. So we'll go ahead and start the observation. It's a lenticular galaxy in Ursa Major, some 50 million light years away, and Stu says 55,000 light years across, so about half the size of the Milky Way. This is looks almost round with a bright core that fades as it travels outward. There's a lot of grain there. I don't know if we can get rid of some of that grain by bringing the blues down, maybe. Nothing related to the songs on the radio. Then let's zoom in a little bit. I don't think we're going to lose much. You can definitely see some structure. I can see where somebody might have thought of this as a planetary nebula almost, because there's like this cloud-like structure emanating out from it. We're still getting a lot of glow, but we're just at 3 minutes. But I think this is all we're going to see of this one. It's just a round, doesn't look spiralish exactly, but maybe it does have some disk around it. We're just looking from the top down, perhaps. Yeah, Stu's right. It's interesting to go from a galaxy nearly edge on to a galaxy nearly face on. You're absolutely right, Stu. Well, let's keep our pace up. We have a lot of objects we could do tonight. So let's go to next target again. And this time we'll go to Lynx again. And this is NGC 2782. NGC 2782. I doubt if the scope had to move very much for this. No. NGC 2782, and this is a galaxy back in Lynx again. Lynx. Anybody play golf? Play out on the Lynx? I bet you guys play golf down in New Zealand. I've heard there are lots of nice golf courses down there. 2782. 27. $27.82, page 80. $27.82. Small and dim spiral. Be prepared for a bit of sweeping to try to find it. Need to use averted vision, even under a dark sky. Very dim, very small, just 1 arc minute wide. I see it there in the middle. It says there's no central condensation, low surface brightness, a little dim core can be seen, about like a faint star. Faint mottlings. Appears brighter and more condensed in larger telescopes. Okay, let's reset our display histogram and then reset and auto stretch down here. Bring this up a little and the mids down. I think we're going to have to bring those reds down a bit, aren't we? They went just a little wild on us. A little better, isn't it? Kind of resembles the last galaxy, doesn't it? 2782. Stu says, lots of good golf courses and good golfers from New Zealand. Lydia Coe is one of the best women golfers in the world. Ray says he doesn't play golf anymore. The knees don't like it. Never understood the point of golf. Seems a long way to go for not much to do. I think you're right, Stu. Look there, looks like maybe a galaxy down here. Let's see if we can find that one. So we're going to go here and then we'll press Show Chart. And look how it resets it. So we're looking right onto this object. Then we'll zoom in. Boy, I'm not seeing any other galaxy around it though. Let's put up our field of view so we can kind of get an idea of how much we have. Oh, here's a little galaxy. That's NGC 2785. It's so small, it wasn't even listed there. So I bet that's what we have here. This must be 2785. Let's do our deep sky image annotation. He doesn't have 2785 in here either. Robin Glover. That's what that is, I bet. Oh, there's another one over here. That might be 2785, and this one might be unidentified. Just a little sliver there. Wow, we're seeing quite a bit of this now, aren't we? Let's bring down one more click on the reds. Get rid of that sky. You know, see how there's so much mottling in the sky. And then look at the way we're starting to pick up all the structure, and that's just after 3 minutes. It's a peculiar spiral galaxy that formed after a galaxy merger in the constellation Lynx. 75 million light years from Earth, apparent dimensions 100,000 light years across, so about like the Milky Way. That's interesting. We're at 66 degrees up here. We could see several background galaxies flanking NGC 2782, which appeared face on. It lies 75 million light years away, Stu, and measures around 100,000 light years across. Isn't it amazing that the sense of scale here? I mean, think of how small that object is in our view. I can also look over here now because I think we have the sizes. Well, I can't see it right now because that observing window is up, but I forget how many arc minutes wide this is. 1 arc minute wide. I mean, think about it. It's 1 arc minute wide. Remember how they're 180 degrees and half of the sky, roughly. Each degree can be divided into 60 arc minutes. So you divide the sky into 180 segments, and then divide one of those segments again into 60 segments. And that one little tiny dot is 100,000 light years across. And here where we are, it's 4 light years to the nearest star. And it just looks like a pinpoint of light. So think of the scale of our universe. It's just so grand. This is looking actually pretty bright now, isn't it? Probably cheating a little bit too much there for just 6 minutes. But look how much of this material that was compromised during this apparent merger or collision with another galaxy. Look how all of this material out here is just scattered like gravel on an asphalt driveway, you know, strewn across a asphalt driveway now. This material out here we could see lots of material strewn out from the main galactic disk, apparently because of a merger collision. And if you're a surveyor, each of those minutes is cut into 60 seconds, right? It is mind-boggling, Ray. All right, well, I know we got to push on. It says 8 minutes on this object, so wow, we're seeing quite a good view of all that material now, aren't we? In fact, if I'm not mistaken, it looks like we're starting to see some material out here. Let's zoom in on the... No. Stellarium has no close-up view of this. NGC 2782 Hubble. NGC 2782. Yeah. There we see the Hubble view of what we're seeing. See how we were starting to see all this material strowing out here. And although we just have a mere 11-inch scope, that material was starting to show up for us too. So now let's go back to our live view. Look how we're starting to see it. It's lighter out here, but then it gets brighter here in the middle. And look, it's brighter here in the middle. Very interesting. All right, well, we have to push on, don't we? Yes, Black Eye Galaxy, you're right. I thought the very same thing, Ray. It does look like that. Okay, next target is Ursa Major, NGC 4051. NGC 4051. NGC 4051, a galaxy in Ursa Major. If you were with us last week, we did a night on open clusters, dedicated the entire night to open clusters. And we got through about 20 during the broadcast, and after the broadcast was over, I quickly worked through another 17. It was open cluster night, and we did that in part because the moon was so bright. It was 100% moon. Tonight there's no moon because the moon hasn't risen yet. And I guess you could say tonight's galaxy night. We started out with a planetary nebula, I know, but after that we have a lot of galaxies in a row here. And they tend to be in Ursa Major and then Leo. Should be a lot of fun. We're down to about 109 objects left in the Herschel 400. So we're making progress, but boy, we're going to have to keep up a nice clip to catch back up. We spent a lot of time on the Caldwell objects, the hidden, what was it called? The secret deep and the hidden treasures. We've been spending time on those, and now we need to catch back up on the Herschel 400 list because it had been June since we had done anything in the Herschel list. This is NGC, now that's a typo in that title, isn't it? Should be 4051. 4051. NGC 4051 is on page 182. That's quite a bit of a difference there, 182. Let's adjust our display histogram and then reset. I had thought we were doing all this in our sequence, so why am I having to do this all over again? Boy, reds are out of whack again. Wonder why the reds are doing that tonight. Must be a tough baseball night in Cincinnati. Let's see. Get those reds down there with the rest of the crests and then bring this in about right there. That almost looks like a whirligig, doesn't it? That looks like somebody's logo. Look at that. It's definitely the shape of an S. Very cool galaxy. Shape of an S there. 4051. It's a bright and obvious galaxy near 67 Ursae Majoris. That must be this star right here. Appears very bright and obvious. A first glance shows it to be a round spot, about 3 arc minutes in extent. But with averted vision, it shows to be more elongated. But this is an illusion created by an 11th magnitude star immediately to its southwest. That must be this. If you jack up the power, it shows a very bright star-like nucleus surrounded by a round central lens and a slightly elliptical halo. With averted vision, it appears irregular and mottled. Larger scopes will show this mottled texture to be hydrogen 2 regions and dust lanes in the galaxy's S-shaped inner spiral arms. Very cool. There are those S-shaped clouds. I like the way this red is showing up, but let's back it down just a little bit. And then jack up all the mids. See if we can brighten that up. And let's zoom in a little more. What a cool looking S-shaped galaxy, right? Wow. Look at those clouds. So Amira says those are hydrogen 2. Let's get a look at where we are. This is again NGC 4051. So we'll just say here, show chart, and then back off here enough to see where we are. See, this is north and that's east. So we're kind of splitting the middle between the north and east. Here's the Big Dipper. So look at the handle of the Big Dipper and imagine the handle of the Big Dipper just continuing on in an arc and then grabbing this galaxy right there. Oh, they don't have a single picture of it. We should put pictures of these in Stellarium. S for spiral. That's good, Mike. Flatwater5 says, my halo is elliptical too. Also has a couple of minor dings. Stu says 54 million light years away. Man, get a load of that. 54 million. Stu said this was 54 million light years. If that's the case, why can we make out so much detail in this spiral S-shaped structure? Hydrogen, 2 regions, add some color, and what would you call that, fluff to this spiral. Super bright core. Seem to have a reddish tint to it. Might have just been our imagination. Maybe that's hydrogen alpha, the hydrogen 2. 6 minutes. 54 million light years. The Black Eye Galaxy got its name because it wouldn't shut up. Stu says sounds more like the Big Mouth Galaxy. But you should see the other guy. Loving this. Okay, that's 7 minutes, and it's already a distinct letter I here and a letter S here. IS. Very cool. All right, let's hit it. Let's hit the trail. Next object is in Leo. It's NGC 3377. NGC 3377. NGC 3377. A galaxy in Leo. NGC 3377. (110). By the way, with all of the news flashes, I just want to make it clear that we do not use any high altitude weather balloons in the production of this live stream. 3377. It's a small and moderately dim elliptical galaxy. 2 arc minutes wide. Gets gradually brighter toward the middle. If you look closely, you'll see an arc 4-minute wide ellipse. Little else is apparent. Four by 2 arc minutes. Display, histogram reset, reset, the main histogram, color match, bring our reds down, right there in the middle. This just looks like a faraway view of the Milky Way, doesn't it? It's a bright spot. Not much there to look at. 3377. An elliptical in Leo. It's a member of the M96 group. It's about 26 million light years away at the diameter of 40,000 light years. Good morning, Corin. Good to have you aboard. From cloudy London. You must have gotten up early. Very faint companion, 3377A. Where is it? Is it out here? Oh, look. I bet this is it. There looks to be a splotch right here. Let's go see it in Stellarium. Stellarium, Stellarium. Potato, patata. Wonder if you can't right-click on that with this up. 26 million light years distant 40,000 light years wide near NGC 3377A. 4:26 a.m. Corin, that's early. Ah, 3377, 3377. I see. Yeah, they don't differentiate with the A here in Stellarium. And there's 3367. So this would be this very faint splotch here must be this 3377A. But look, there's another one here, 3367, opposite that brighter star. Yeah, exactly. So this is I don't know. It's a shame that Stellarium doesn't make this easier, huh? Hey, I wonder if deep sky image annotation would help us. Oh yeah, let's do one of these plate solve only, and this should help us zero in a little better. We'll take those off while it's doing that. Stu says, crikey, at 4:26 a.m. Ray got up early also, 10:45. Much more reasonable, Stu says. Retirement, Ray says. We've got a temperature out there of 30.6 degrees, but I'm telling you, I'm getting too hot with this heater. I'm going to dial that off for a while till my feet get cold. Whew, it's getting toasty in here. Okay, so we did our plate solve only without resyncing. Now let's figure these out. Okay, so there's 3377, there's 3377A. That's that splotch we were seeing out here. And here, that's that. So this is 3367. And then 3391 is down here. So now let's go 3377, 3377A. Let's take this off so we can see. 3377, 3377A. Let's see, how can we get those a little more visible? Darken the sky a little maybe, and dial this up. Look at this one. This one's very, very tiny, like arc seconds. 3391. Size. Yeah, 38 arc seconds wide. Look at that. This one down here is just 38 arc seconds. So this is 3377, 3377A, and that's a nice looking galaxy there, and that was 3367. It didn't make the list, sadly. That's a shame, isn't it? Let's 33. Trying to find this again. How do you find these? That's the one thing I haven't figured out how to do yet. Is there a search over here? I just can't go Control F, can I? No. Is there any way to... Is there no search anywhere? Object type. Plan name. I guess you could put them temporarily, but we did this the other night. If you sort this column, oh, maybe that worked. 33. No, see, it's not in this column. You sort that column. There should be a search. I'm going to have to complain to her. She's got to give us a search. Because now I can't find our object again. 3377. Because see, I made the observation. Oh, there it is. Now let's edit this observation here. And let's say we located NGC 3377A along with a tiny companion NGC 3391, just 38 arc seconds wide. Maybe the smallest galaxy we've ever observed. Perhaps, maybe. And then I also saw NGC, what was the one at the top? (3367). NGC 3367. Quite a cool view, huh? All right, now we can put our observed back to no and put it back in altitude order and run. And go to next target. Should have taken deep sky image annotation off before we did this, which is NGC 2841. NGC 2841, a galaxy in Ursa Major. Let's look at our sky. Oh, that's beautiful, isn't it? Just beautiful. We never get tired of looking at it, do we? Hard to believe so many galaxies. Right, Ray? We will not run out of things to see, that's for sure. Mike, the skies must be dark and steady tonight. You're going really deep. You're right. I mean, at 9:30 Eastern, 1 hour before, you could maybe make out Orion through one little patch of sky. And in 1 hour, it all cleared away. And I gotta say, you gotta hand it to clear outside, because look, they called it, they predicted it, and I started seeing this really nice opportunity here before the moon rises. Guess the moon rises right here, see, at 11:07. What is it now? 11:37? So the moon's up, but not really causing much havoc yet because it's so low on the horizon. So it's really doing well for us with those nice dark skies. And sunny night, we're going to be back, Lord willing. Sunny night, we'll try to go 9 to 11 Eastern. And look, the whole time will be moonless. The moon won't rise until 1 a.m. It's a 52% moon, but we won't see anything of it if we go 9 to 11 p.m. And it's supposed to be clear again. Thank you, Clear Outside. You're a good companion. All right, let's, don't need deep sky image annotation here, do you? Wow. And then let's go, like Ray has taught us, get all these histograms sorted out. Let's see here, what a mess. Let's bring blues down a little. And greens down a little. Boy, that's odd that it wants the reds to come up then. But that's exactly what we needed to do. That's odd. And put our black histogram right there. And then zoom in a little. And then run up the mids. It's a little too early to run up the mids much. That's a nice galaxy. I mean, we've only got 2 minutes on it yet, but already you can start seeing some nice structure there, can't you? Wow, look at that. Flatwater 5, just think there will come a day when no galaxies will be visible anymore. Mike says, when Starlink is complete. Thanks a lot, Elon. This is beautiful. This is 2841, NGC 2841. You might wonder, why are there no Messier numbers? It's because Herschel specifically tried to do objects that were not on the Messier list. And this NGC list took into consideration all the ones that Herschel had done. So that's why most of them, not quite all, but most of them have NGC numbers, 2841. Small but deceivingly bright spiral galaxy. Central lens is so bright it can be seen in astronomical twilight. Otherwise, under a dark sky, it is an elongated glow with a sharp stellar nucleus, which looks like a moonlit stone centered in a pool of vapors. At 72, the galaxy's star-like nucleus lies within a slightly elliptical inner lens. It looks like a comet with a tail seen nearly head-on. Having to try to, I guess so. With concentration, the galaxy's northwestern side appears mottled. The rest of the disk is milky smooth. Yeah, see how this does look mottled. I had thought that was my color tuning, but maybe that's just the way it looks. Look how you can see some dust lanes. See that black dust lane there? It's keeping us from seeing the bright gases. Wow, that's really pretty, isn't it? Flatwater 5 says humbling. That's great, Flatwater 5. That's awesome. There's actually quite a bit of information in this little observing box that Deep Sky Planner gives us. This is Deep Sky Planner version 8. She's kind of started to work on 9, I understand. I mentioned to her again the other day, can you please get us this thing, the number of degrees the object is from the moon? And she said, it's on my to-do list. So she answers right back at us. Let's see. It says that it's 9.2 magnitude, absolute magnitude. It's 8 arc minutes wide. Oh, look. It does tell you right here the moon is 33 degrees from the object. It's at 61 degrees altitude. It is a pay-for program, Ray. It's not horrible. I'm trying to remember the price. Deep Sky Planner pricing. $60, is it? I'm trying to remember if it's 60. $75. But you know what? I love it. I mean, it's working for us, isn't it? And it integrates so well with programs like Stellarium. Man, look at this galaxy, gang. Wow. What a beautiful picture. I'm going to screenshot this. Let's start up here with these nice looking, look at all those background stars, kind of give it context. There's just a little bit too much red in there, isn't there? This is at 7 minutes. And we're going to put this in here. We're going to call it NGC 2841, 8 minutes, 24 subframes on 2023-02-10. We'll just take a snapshot of it as well here. Save exactly scene. That's really a neat looking galaxy, isn't it? Flatwater 5 says stunning. Ray says, yes, it is working for you. Okay, so here we go. Next target. You guys that have been around might remember, let's see, beautiful spiral with dust lanes. Striking, bright. You guys might remember that I was trying to use for so long Starry Night Pro, and remember it just had some glitches to it that finally just irked us too much. 2742 is the next object, NGC 2742. That's a galaxy in Ursa Major also. amount has settled. 2742. 27. Boy, if you don't get in the right index, you're just toast here. I'm so glad in the other books, let's see, 43, he's put the labels up on top of the page and just put them in the numbers of the... It's a very small and dim spiral galaxy less than 40 minutes from northwest of 2768. You have to use averted vision. Very dim, 1 arc minute wide. Gets mixed up with the neighboring star. 1 arc minute. Wow. Right, Ray. It did not work as well. Ray, you're really nice to ask folks to click thumbs up to like the video. And if you're watching this as a recording, you could also, if you'd be so kind as to click thumbs up, maybe subscribe if you haven't already subscribed. We'd love to have you do that, and that gets the object, it gets the videos up in people's kind of their searches a little bit more. Wow, multiple galaxies here. We've got this galaxy here, which must be our target, 2742, but look at this one. Let's see what those are. Let's go show chart. So we're looking for 2742 in the middle. Right there it is. 2742, and then this is 2768. And for orientation, we're not that far from Bode's galaxy. Basically, if you take the Little Dipper pointer stars, the Little Dipper pointer stars would almost aim right at this. This is inside of the Ursa Major constellation, but not inside the Big Dipper. Basically off the end of the cup of the Big Dipper. No image here in Stellarium. 2742, and look, you have 2726 in this frame too. 2726 would be an object on the left. I'm not seeing that. Oh, here it is. Really dim. Yep. So really, the one that stands out the most is 2768 right here. That's the brightest. But look at this. This is our target, 2742. Let's do another color balance. Bring down the reds. Or is that green? That's the green. Boy, you could tell I was colorblind there for a second, couldn't you? I could not tell the difference between red and green on that display histogram. You do not want me color balancing your object. I think that's got a little bit blacker. But when we do that, we're giving up material out of the galaxies. Wow, that is a cool galaxy, even though it's very small. 1 arc minute is what you're looking at there. Flatwater 5 says hit the like button. Flatwater 5, you're so kind. Got so lucky tonight to get to see this, you said. Usually working. Stu said, if anyone's interested, Cody's lab does an excellent scale model of the solar system using seeds for planets on a football field sized solar system. Really puts things into scale for me. Cody's Lab. Flatwater 5. Stu, thank you. Glad you're here, Flatwater 5, Azray says. You guys are like a family. Stu says, on a football-sized solar system, he had to drive 120 miles to reach the nearest star, which was the size of a pea. So this must be Cody's Lab. That must be a YouTube channel. Is that kind of what you're saying? Cody's Lab Solar System. How far are the nearest stars? Cody's Lab. That does look good. Okay, so how can we, if I click on that, it's going to start playing, so we're not going to do that. Can I grab it over here somehow? Share. Copy. Now I'm going to go here and just put that in. Oh, moderation helps everyone feel. Put that right here. There we go. Cody's Lab. It's a good reference. Well done, Stu. Okay. So what are we going to say about this baby? We're going to say NGC 2742. NGC 2742 plus surrounded by two other companions. 2768, 2726. 2768 and NGC 2726. 2768 2768 seemed the brighter of the three, but the structure on 2742 was particularly interesting. See how it kind of weaves in and out or something. There's like an interior structure that's stronger. An inner spiral arm structure that's stronger. This is 7 minutes. It must be very faint. So 2742. GC 2742. So I guess we're just seeing this inner circle here. We're kind of seeing this inner ring. See that arm and how it's brighter? And then we're starting to see these outer arms. So this is our live view. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. This is the inner arm structure, and then this is some of the outer arms. The best we can make them show up. Yeah, there go, at 8 minutes and 20 seconds. There were inner arms and outer arm structures visible. Very cool. Dane says, all these distances make me seem so invisible and irrelevant. I'm a grain of sand on a football field. Yeah, that's right, Dane. I'm a grain of sand on a football field. Flowwater 5 says, awesome, isn't it? And Dane said, awesome and yet terrifying. All right, we're headed to NGC 2768 now. 2768. Does it feel like we're finally, I hope, starting to get a little bit of like a kind of muscle memory going here? So notice how we're putting the titles in while the scope is slewing, hopefully remembering to bring you back to the screen. And then while the screen is plate solving, while the scope is plate solving, we go get the observing window and then we look it up in the book. 2768, page 43. Oh, same page. Oh, 2768. That's the frame we were just looking at. Remember, it was in our frame. A very nice elliptical galaxy, elongated and bright. A fine sight. That was nuts. We were already there. We had already seen NGC 2768 in the prior frame. And then in parentheses, I'm a bit of a nitwit sometimes. Nice spiral. Stu says, you're never irrelevant as long as you have people around you. Ray says, you're doing great, Doug. Much appreciated. Flowwater 5 is saying, we are the creations of the architect. And Ray says, I agree, Stu. You guys are nice to encourage. You know, because I think you just have to keep doing this in order to get better at it. You can't ever stop. And that's why sometimes I think it makes sense to even observe on a moonlit night, because you're still getting reps. Even though the moon is challenging, you're still getting your reps in. And that's what I think it takes. I was thinking just today, I was searching for new things that had to do with EAA. And in my YouTube search on EAA, my own video came up from about a year ago. And it was like observation session 55, and maybe you saw when we started, it's like 107 tonight. So in other words, it was about halfway along in this journey that I'm on. And oh my goodness, I was so embarrassed. I just thought, you know, I probably should just erase all the videos, 1 through 60, just erase them all. But on the other hand, I think maybe it does help a person acquire a bit of perspective on things. And if you are a beginning astronomer, a beginning visual observer, or just even thinking about getting started, what I will say is I still feel like I'm so primitive, like I'm at the very beginning of the hobby, even after 107 observing nights. That's like once a week for 2 years. I feel like all those reps just barely get a person kind of in the habit. And you guys that have been with me for a long time, you remember how many times have I left the camera off of the screen and I'll start talking about the object and you guys are still looking at the telescope and some of you are over there saying, would you please show us the objects? And I've forgotten and left you with the camera view going, and I've moved on. I mean, if you're going to try to live stream while you're doing observing so that others can do this as a team sport with you, and we can make this a little more fun together than just a lonely hobby out in some field at night with the things that go bump in the night, it takes reps. And I'm thinking by the time I get to 1,000 nights, I hope I will have learned something about this hobby. Until then, I don't think I have a right to say I'm doing astronomy yet. I'm just exploring, you know? Okay, so this is Flatwater 5. We are the universe experiencing it, but I'm so sad I won't understand this more in my lifetime, Dane says. Flatwater 5, eventually you'll understand everything. This is a hobby that you can always learn something new. That's true, Ray. That's the way we have to look at it. Okay, I know that if I move, I've learned if I move this a little bit to the right on the black level, that darkens the sky a little more. Let's get a picture of where we're looking. So let's back off. This is 2768. Oh, look, see, now I just did it. 2768, so right there it is. So we're looking about halfway up, or a little more than halfway up. We're about 70 degrees up the north sky, and this is the worst light pollution right here. This is the direction of Louisville. We are still in the city limits technically, but that's the direction of Louisville. So maybe this sky glow is a little bit of those city lights. Just not a lot there for us, huh? Let's see, this is NGC 2768. Not a lot there. Well, see, look, not a lot here. I mean, that's it. It's just a glow. Even whoever this is, if this is Hubble or what, I saw that little whirligig down there a while ago, and I thought it was. Look at all the blue stars in that, star-forming regions. That's what that blue means. Let's go back and look at that again. Where did I see that? Was that down here? Must be down here. Boy, that's not standing out very well, is it? Now that must be 2742. This is barely out of the glow. So maybe that's it. Anybody else see a whirligig? There's another one there. Anyway, that's all it is in that close-up as well. It's just a big glow with just a speck of dust. There's that star. So the speck of dust might be right there. I wonder if we dial this up a little more. No, not too much glow that we can make out yet. Just a little halo. That's 7 minutes. $27.68. All right, let's hit, we got about 23 minutes. Let's hit as many as we can. The next is 3938. You know what helps us also, gang, is this sequencer, because what this allows us to do is it's like having other arms. Basically, the sequence in SharpCap is taking care of a lot of the substeps. And like, for instance, right now I can start looking up 3938. Because why? Because SharpCap is taking care of the live stacking, the plate solving for us. We don't even have to look at it. 121. And then as soon as it's done plate solving, it goes right into the live stacking. 3938. It's a small but somewhat bright spiral near Ursa Majoris, the 67. You have to be make careful star hopping to it because it's so hard to find. Has a bright core, 4 arc minutes wide, highly concentrated bright mass. $39.38. We are right off the back of the Big Dipper, so it would be east-northeast. So here's east-northeast, there's Boötes, and the Big Dipper's here, Canis Venatici, which are those, remember those, isn't that a, Canis Venatici is supposed to be a hunting dog, isn't it? And look, it's just 2 stars, or is it the rabbit? I can't remember. You know what, we can put on the constellation art. Must be hunting dogs. 2 hunting dogs, those are the 2 eyes. The 2 eyes of the hunting dogs. They point right at it. The dogs are looking right at this galaxy. Ooh, it's a nice looking galaxy, isn't it? Let's hope we can see that. Right there in the middle it is, so reset the... I would like to get more of these steps into the sequencer. I'm pretty sure we tell it to do this, but for some reason lately, it's sure been helping, as Ray noticed and told us, you ought to reset the display histogram. You ought to reset the main histogram. Okay, let's bring our blacks up. Bring our blues down just 1 notch, right there. Wow, anybody ever seen the Pinwheel Galaxy? Because this sure reminds us of it. That's got a lot of structure, doesn't it? Already. That's 2 minutes. Here's the moon. So the moon's just come up over the building here. Just starting to be interfering Now that we know this tells us the degrees to the moon, we should just be able to go like this. "37 degrees. Reminded us of the pinwheel galaxy. Lots of structure after just 2 minutes. Flat. Face-on spiral with wide, loose arms, flinging stars out everywhere. Ha ha. This is a beautiful galaxy, gang. Look at that. Doesn't that remind you of the pinwheel galaxy, except a little miniature model? Wonder how wide this is, Stu. I mean, how many light years across it is. Any idea? About a dozen of us. If you haven't told us where you're observing from, it'd be great to have you say, if you don't mind. It's always interesting. This is just 4 minutes, and look at all that structure after just 4 minutes. Bright core. Looks a lot like the Milky Way. 39, 38. No idea here how wide it is in light years. Nothing, Stu? Let's see what we see. 39, 38. GC 39, 38 with light years. Oh, 67 light years in diameter. 67,000 light years. And it's 43 million miles and 43 million light years away. So 43 million light years away, 67,000 light years wide. Milky Way, 120,000 or so wide, I think. So about half the size of the Milky Way, just like our little brother, huh? We're down to objects that are at 58 degrees in altitude. So that's better. When we started, we were at 80 degrees, and that's a sure sign that we got some catching up to do. Because you know how these objects, they rise into our view over the seasons. And if we don't stay up, then we miss them. And then it would be a year from now before we could really catch them again. This is going to be NGC 2964. NGC 2964. So by doing 4 lists like we are, 2964, this is a galaxy in Leo. We're working on 4 lists at once. I don't know if I have all 4 books here. Yeah, it looks like I do. Here's Secret Deep. That's about 109 objects that Stephen James O'Meara picked out. This is Hidden Treasures. I think that's another 109. And then this is Caldwell Objects. That's 109. Maybe Hidden Treasures is 400. No, that's 109. Maybe Secret Deep is... Nope, that's 109. So all three, Caldwell, Hidden Treasures, and Secret Deep, are all 109 object lists, kind of modeled after Messier. And then the Herschel 400, of course, is 400 objects. All 4 books by Stephen James O'Meara. So it makes for a fun chase, doesn't it? Hard to wrap your head around how large our universe is, Ray says. And Flowater 5 says majestic. 1 light year is almost 6 trillion miles. That's a lot of miles. Boy, now it is starting to get a little bit colder in here now. But outside it's 30 degrees Fahrenheit. What in the world is this? Yeah, right there in the middle. Seems like we're doing a lot of color matching tonight. Maybe what that's a sign of is, as the moon is rising, it keeps changing our color balance, you see, perhaps. It's my theory. 2 galaxies real close. We're going to say show chart. Should be 3, in fact. NGC 2964, and then the closer neighbor is 2968, and then 2970. So 64, 68, 70, hike. This is 64. So this would be 68. 64, 68, and this must be 70. This is in the constellation Leo, so this is another Leo triplet. This is the Leo triplet you've never heard of before. NGC 2964, 2968, and 2970. 64, 68, 70. 64, 68, 70. Sure enough, 64, 68, 70. Wow. Look at 64. How bright the arms are. Now they're tiny. Super tiny. 2964. GC 2964 on 2964, 2968, 2970. Now, they're all together, so let's don't move the scope. We can do 3 at once here. 68, 70, and 74. Is that R3? 68, 70. No. 64, 68, and 70. Oh, I see. 64, 68, 70, around 80 and 81. So let's go back to 80. And look at 64. very small, very dim. Gotta have dark sky, and even then, only averted vision sees it. Very faint, very small, anemic glow. Boy, that doesn't look like anemic glow to me. Barely visible even under a dark sky. Get the field, increase your magnification. It displays a round core and a little elliptical disk, about 2 arc minutes. But it's the brightest of 3 NGC galaxies in the area. The others are 68 and 70. I did not see the other 2 galaxies at a quick glance. Fainter anonymous galaxies were also nearby. 64, maybe 68 and 70 aren't on the list. They aren't. He just mentioned them in the index because he mentions them in passing in the text. But they're not part of the Herschel 400. I thought we were going to get a 3-for-1 special here. I like this. Looks like some piece of jewelry. It's Valentine's Day jewelry. That's what it is. You know what? Sunday night we'll have to do our Valentine's night observations, right? Stu says, I know a percentage of knowledge, but if that percentage was rounded, it would be 0. Flatwater 5, I just need to figure out the infinite improbability drive and get myself a nice towel. What in the world? Flatwater 5. Stu, a.k.a. Zaphod Beeblebrox. Stu, you're on to me. You can have the towel. Take them pan-galactic gargle. What? You guys. Flatwater 5, like a lemon wrapped in a brick. Ken Allen, night. Thanks for the tour tonight. P.S. How cold is too cold for you? I don't know. I think I could stand outside and observe in the observatory maybe until it got down to 60. And after 60, this, see how over there on the opposite side, I've got a large screen and a little table that folds down. It's a neat little setup as long as it's 60 degrees and up. And 60 degrees and up, and I like in here. Okay, back to this. This is beautiful. Three objects close together. NGC 2964. NGC 2968 and NGC 2970. (2964) had a unique spiral structure around a bright core that reminded us of electrons racing around an atomic nucleus. The other two didn't have much structure in our RASA 11. Flatwater 5 would love to see the sky from Arizona. Would love to go meteorite hunting. Ray, me too. Clouds are in too often lately. All right, it's 12:26. Often for our last object, we just grab something close by that's kind of famous. And usually that means some of the larger, but look, here's the Broken Heart cluster. That would be good for Valentine's Day, wouldn't it? Let's go there. Control 0, current object, slew. So you notice now we're using Stellarium to do the pointing. And by God's grace, we have it set up so that we can do either one. We can get there through the target list in Deep Sky Planner, or we can get there through the planetarium software, which is Stellarium. And I think that's the best of all worlds, because sometimes, you know, you'll be viewing in the target list and you'll want to do something like this. You want to go to something nearby. So it really does help to have Stellarium hooked up to and just standing by. So if you want to go to something quickly that you just see in the star chart, then you know it'll be there. So again, this is the Broken Heart cluster. Whoops, I had stopped. Let me grab a quick picture of this. I hadn't stopped. Broken. Wonder what the NGC number for that is. NGC 2281. NGC 2281. So this will be our final object. You can see now we're on the west side of the meridian. Right here. There's west. The light glow of Louisville is right here in the northwest. I'm sorry. Yeah, the northwest. The dome is brightest right here. The Broken Heart cluster for Valentine's Day. Flatwater 5, can't see much from Dallas, way too much light. Ray, sorry to hear that. 6 stars, the Northern Cross, mourning for their sister's loss. Final flash of glory, never more to grace the night. Cygnus X1, with apologies to Rush. Rural Texas is pretty good though. Ray, yes, but there's always the Texas Star Party. Flatwater 5, you're profoundly knowledgeable, real asset on this channel for sure. So this is the Broken Heart cluster. Right there it is. Oh, you know what? I might be seeing it already. So we're supposed to try to make a broken heart out of that. So I think this has to be one of the sides of the heart, right? Or maybe larger, like that. And then this has to be the other part of the heart. Am I right, guys? Yeah, I think this, I wish I could just sort of write on the screen here, but maybe you can tell by the tracing of the mouse cursor. Well, this will be where we'll stop, guys. It's been 2 hours. Is it just Doug, or did this 2 hours seem to go quickly tonight? I wonder why that was. Maybe it's because we didn't have trouble with any of the objects. You know, none of them were hard to bring in. They all showed up well. You know, it really just took 3 or 4 minutes to see all of them, huh? And it seemed to go fast. Well, once again, if you're watching tonight, recording or live, if you wouldn't mind hitting subscribe, doesn't cost you anything, gets the channel up in other people's heads-up displays when they're searching. Same goes if you didn't mind hitting the thumbs up. Maybe put a note in the comment, that helps as well. Gets the channel up. Don't forget to look at that store if you can use a hoodie as we head into spring, maybe. Thanks for being a part of this channel and our family here. We kind of have gotten to know each other as a family, and we all kind of have unique personalities, especially Flatwater 5. Quite a sense of humor. Flatwater 5 just said, "My life is an open cluster." See what I mean? Thank you guys for being a part of this. Thanks to God for making all these cool clusters. Thanks for any time you pitch in. This money always goes to a cause. Tonight's cause was and is people who are suffering from that earthquake devastation in Turkey. How many has it been? 20,000 plus already discovered, passed away, perished in this earthquake. Please lift them up in prayer. We'll get anything you send into use literally within a couple of days, buying hot soup and tents and blankets for these folks, and we'll do it in the name of somebody who cares, in the name of Jesus. And I hope you'll stop back by the channel, and we'll see you next time. God bless and good night, everybody. Ray, thanks for saying you'll look forward to Sunday. Very kind. Hope to see you then. Thank you, Flatwater 5. God bless and good night from Emerald Hill Skies. See you later.